Hello everyone, this is Derek Watson with Project Legacy. First off, thank you for your time on this. As you can tell, this is my first video going into this channel, and honestly, I'm a bit nervous for sure. But the purpose of this video in particular is more or less to set the stage, a thesis, if you will, of what my channel will be about moving forward, what content I intend to provide, expectations, deadlines, etc. But most importantly, I really want to begin with this. This channel is not a job. I don't intend to make it a career. It's a hobby. I love art. I mean, especially video games, music, paintings, the whole nine yards. I don't want to sound pretentious, but things just really don't excite me like they used to. These days, I'm 29 going on 1,000, and I just can't seem to really enjoy things like I used to when I was younger. So instead of just diving into a pool of self-pity and irredeemable nihilism, which I would really like to do, I think I'm going to try and channel it into something constructive. So with that, let's dive right in. To get things started, like I mentioned prior, I love video games in particular. I still remember the days back when I was insanely young, just playing on my old man's SNES for countless hours on end, more Gradius and Donkey Kong Country than any human being should know to possibly consume themselves with. And of course, I remember getting into my, pretty early, like 8 to maybe like 9-year-old range years, when my old man scraped enough funds together to grab me a PS2. And man, what a ride that was. I mean, I still remember playing with my friends when they came over once in a blue moon, and just even playing myself once a week when I was allowed to on Sundays. It's a long story, we'll get into that later. But going from the PS2, and then the Wii, and then from the Wii to the Xbox 360, kind of like my early teen years, like right before high school, kind of. And of course, the best time is when I ascended from filthy console peasant to the glory of the PC master race in my kind of early to mid-late teens, when I met my brother James and realized that mods might be better than aged Nilla wafers. And honestly, the last few years have given me a lot to look back on, and in my time in retrospection, I think what I really enjoyed about gaming growing up wasn't, funnily enough, the games themselves, but I think it was the time I got to spend with others playing them when they were around. Well, being an adult does not sadly afford me the luxury of time and companionship like I once wielded so casually as a kid. But I think as I've grown and learned, I've had the fortune of just meeting so many people and just experiencing so many things in the relatively short time span I've been around, that I can now sit down and just think at things. Yeah, I suppose that's a good way to put it. I want this channel to represent the hope of art in medium. Because, frankly, well, art absolutely does exist these days. In my very, very humble opinion, it is being drowned to death in selfish, narcissistic, nepotistic, money-hungry pseudo-aristocrats who see people as statistics and numbers rather than just people themselves. Don't get me started on just apathetic sheep who only want to blissfully distract themselves instead of chasing a feeling. That being said, Jesus Christ, on a motorbike to a large portion of people just suck. Look, we're all adults here. I won't sugarcoat it. I've met loads of wonderful people in this life who, in their kindness and good human nature, stand peerless. And I have met such monsters it would make your stomach curl, and every privileged and unprivileged prick in between. So you know what? Frankly, a large part of me does not even want to waste my time with this. Why throw my voice out into the void if there is basically no one who wants to even hear the intent it carries? But then I think back, and I remember all the people who took the time and cast their voice at me in my lifetime when they had no incentive to. I mean, it's hard not to appreciate the people who took me in, gave me friendships, mentorships, love, admiration, and God knows my fair share of misery. And I think that if no one had taken the time or the initiative for me, then I really started to think who or even what I'd be now. So you know what? I think I am just going to scream into nothing. And even if only one person hears it, then I suppose that's enough. So yeah, that's what I'll do. I'll just scream as loud as I can, as often as I want. And maybe in time others will join in. It's selfish, narcissistic, and, well, definitely pretentious to think that one worthless voice like mine will ever carry any weight. But I was raised by monsters. And it's high time I remember that. No matter how far I go in this life, I have never and will never struggle alone. So yeah, I'm just gonna talk about the things I love. No bleeps, bloops, wacky sound effects, or jangling keys to appeal to a wide audience. Mostly because I'm an untalented hack and I have no idea how to do any of that yet. But I'm mostly just a selfish prick who's just trying to put himself back together any way he can. I can never be the man or the boy I once was again. But maybe like all good things, that version of myself just had to come to an end eventually. But smart people I know have said that ashes from forest fires make great fertilizer. So maybe it really is just time just to let the old forest go and let a new one grow. Oh, yeah. Oops. I was supposed to actually talk about the important stuff. Sorry, I like to ramble a lot, and okay, I know what I'm doing. So at this point, what I'm hoping to do for the videos is just to put them out maybe like every week or two. I'm still really, really new on all this, and I'm running it through Linux. Shout out to the Bazite team, because wow, Bazite is absolutely phenomenal. And don't even be starting on an FOSS. Thank God for people, that's all I'm going to say. I'm going to try to keep the videos between about 6 to 10 minutes, give or take. This one in particular obviously will be long, just because I'm really kind of throwing myself out into the wilderness on this one. But, and like I mentioned, I do like to talk a lot. Now, most of my content is going to definitely be video game based. There are lots of other art forms, don't get me wrong. Like, I've been to museums, I've listened to God knows how much YouTube music. But video games in particular have always kind of interested me. A, because I played them growing up. And B, because they're one of the few pieces of art that you can really interact with, I guess, to a certain degree. Or at least consistently interact with. And there's just layers to it, like mechanics. Okay, we'll get into that later. But realistically, I want to take the time on this channel to take a look at these games, or potentially other projects, and just kind of try to see why they exist. Like, do they exist for what reason? And it could just be as simple as some guy was hoping to make bank. Works great to me. But a lot of this is also going to be an analytical breakdown on its mechanics, especially when we go into video games, obviously. And I'd like to try to see if I can be smart enough to figure out if games can tie their mechanics into their narrative. Probably lost a few people on that one, but it's going to be interesting, I believe. That also being said, I do got quite a few friends still. And I got some boys, and I would definitely like to do some collaborations with them for sure, because, I mean, like I said, I do love my friends, and why not rope them into this nonsense once in a while? I've definitely roped them into worse. So it'll be fun. Plus, they have different perspectives. I'm not going to spoil too much, but there was a boys Elden Ring where we just did like a complete seamless co-op playthrough of Elden Ring. That will be a blast, and that's going to probably be the first collab way down the line once I actually figure out how all this stuff works. And finally, I'm not going to stream. I'm not pretty enough. Sorry. And on top of that, I do like interacting with people, so I'm going to definitely do community talks. Because if I just kept it in my own social circle, that would kind of defeat the purpose of looking at art from a broad perspective. So I want to get in with other people and talk to them, obviously. But I've also been around long enough to know what the internet's like. I'm not an idiot. I'm dumb, but I'm not an idiot. So I'm going to kind of take some time on that. And then once I've got a really solid system set up, then we'll start really bringing in outside sources. But I do absolutely intend to talk to some people. I'm social. I like to talk. Now, that being said, coming to the pipeline, after this one, obviously the first video, the first official one, is actually going to go over the game Loop Hero. This was, from what I understand, developed by 4 Quarters, and of course published by Devolver Digital. It was actually the first game that I managed to pull myself together long enough to beat after my old man passed away in 2023. So its significance to the overall theme of the channel kind of shoved it up to the top spot for sure. Next, we're going to go to a game called Celeste. This was actually recommended by James's little cousin, my little cousin, Ryan. Stellar game, by the way. Cart before the horse, but it was developed by Maddie Makes Games Inc. and I believe Extremely OK Games Ltd. And of course published by Maddie Makes Games Inc. A lot of this is going off just the Steam forum, just to make things way easier for myself. Lastly, in the early pipeline, I'm actually going to do a game, I'm going to do a review over the game Secrets of Grindea, which I'm going to level with you, has some absolute recency bias, since, well, I actually just beat it recently. And one I'm actually really excited to talk about, but I'm going to hold this one off in particular until I get a better grasp of how all this editing and all this other stuff works, because I really want that particular video to kind of set the precedent going into it. Spoiler, it's also a hard recommendation, great game. And, wait until I get my hands on Shadow of the Colossus. I can hear everyone I know already recoiling in agony, because God, do I love that game so much. Fair warning, that one's either going to be a series of videos or just one stupidly long video I'm going to rant about forever, because consistency is for the disciplined, and I'm here to have fun, and God, that game's so good. Now, there are a bunch more, obviously. I've got things ranging in from like Gradius 3 to Epic Mickey, I think is one I'm even touching up recently. Like, I've got a lot down the pipeline, but those are going to be the earlier portions, and I don't want to spill the beans too much going into everything, because like the channel name suggests, there is actually a long-term goal to all this. But seriously, thanks. For everyone who tags along with me in this endeavor, I really want to make it clear. I don't want your money. I do, on the other hand, want your attention. I want to take this time to be able to reconnect with people and things like I used to, albeit more refined in my wizened years. So let's have fun. Let's make this big, so I can just have fun with people forever. It's a selfish dream to live off the love of others, to just exist and give what I can to others when they need me in return for what they gave or give to me. But man, it would be a fulfilling life to just work both alone and together in tandem with others in pursuit of an arbitrary long-term goal, just for the hell of it. So here's to the start of nothing, but a good time with myself, the people I love, and hopefully the countless others who I meet along the way to who knows where. Let's all just walk together and see where this thing goes.